Hello folks, so we are just a few days away from Wuchang's launch, and having covered absolutely everything we possibly could have up till this point, I thought it would be a nice idea to make the 10th video a complete preview of the game, covering everything we've learned so far. To start us off, Wuchang is of course an action RPG slash Souls-like game, said to be around 60 hours plus for 100% completion, with no options to toggle the difficulty settings, and the game is said to be challenging, but fair. It's set in a fictionalized version of the land of Shu within the late Ming dynasty in China, and our main protagonist is Bai Wuchang, a pirate lady inflicted with a feathering disease named ornithopy, which has recently riddled the lands and infected just about everyone, and by recently, we're talking days or weeks before the game begins. The standard price point is £45/$50, and the deluxe edition is £50/$60. Pre-orders offer additional weapons and armor, as does the deluxe edition, but these are all likely to be available for purchase after release too, and the game is launching day one on Game Pass for Xbox and PC. As a brief side note, folks, we are indeed sponsored by Games Planet on this channel, so any PC gamers can use the link in the description with the code WuchangWaved to get 14% off either the standard or deluxe editions. Any purchases made using the link does indeed help the channel, so just something for all you PC gamers to consider. Wuchang's main story is broken down into 5 chapters. The level design within said chapters is said to be heavily inspired by Dark Souls 1, which is largely considered the gold standard of Souls-like level design. Chapter 1 is confirmed to overlap within itself, whilst it's also said to connect to Chapter 2, and we can hopefully assume the entire game is connected in the same way. During your adventures, you'll have a total of 5 different weapon types available, those being axe, spear, one-handed sword, longsword, and dual swords. You can dodge regardless of weapon type. However, each weapon type does also come with a unique skill, such as axes can block, longswords can parry, etc., whilst each individual weapon also has its own unique ability, typically flashy and offensive in nature. There are said to be 25 weapons in total. However, if we consider the 5 available in the pre-order and deluxe packs, then we can gauge anywhere between 25 and 30 weapons in total, roughly around 5 or 6 for each weapon type. In addition to this, we also have 4 available spell slots and at least over 40 available spells within the game. Spells and specific skills and abilities will require Skyborn Might to be cast, and this can be considered this game's version of mana. Skyborn Might can mostly be reacquired by perfect dodging enemy attacks, but there's also evidence to show that it can be replenished by landing certain attacks under certain conditions, etc. Each weapon type has 3 benediction slots, which allow for further refinement, and instead of needing to upgrade individual weapons, Wuchang requires you to upgrade that specific type of weapon instead, meaning you would become more effective with axes or spears, etc. Damage is divided into 8 different types, and we have slash, blunt, stab, feathering, magic, fire, lightning, and spell power. And in combat, you will have 2 weapons equipped and available to switch between at any moment, and your full arsenal of options will consist of light attack, heavy attack, weapon skill, weapon ability, 4 spell options, as well as a unique attack that can only be performed while switching weapons. There are likely other additional options currently unknown and yet to be unlocked throughout the game, but this is the core moveset that we will have available. For armor sets, these consist of 4 pieces each and currently don't appear to give any set bonuses for multiple of the same set equipped. Instead, they quite simply just affect mitigations and resistances, meaning we will likely want to rotate through armor sets depending on our current situation. Transmogrification has been confirmed. I'm unsure as to when it's unlocked, but we will absolutely have it. In addition to armor, we will also have 3 available accessory slots and possibly a 4th to be unlocked later on. These mostly act as you would expect, granting very specific buffs to help further refine builds and playstyles. And of course, we do indeed have consumable item slots for items such as throwing knives, bombs, weapon imbuement, etc. Now, Wuchang is unique in its leveling up approach in that you will not invest points into core stats such as strength, vitality, dexterity, etc., but instead you will invest points into a skill tree to level up those stats and invest in passive skills and abilities. Essentially taking the typical level up system we've all come to expect from any Souls-like game and blending it with a skill tree. You will require red mercury in order to invest points within the tree, which is this game's version of souls or runes, and some unlocks within the skill tree will require specific items as well, likely to prevent us from becoming too strong too early. The skill tree is broken into 6 branches. The one on the left is more or less a general branch, whilst the other 5 all focus around an individual weapon type specifically. And finally, this skill tree can be reset whenever you like to allow for experimentation. Now, those are the most basic mechanics explained. To go a little bit deeper, Wuchang does have a unique ability absorption mechanic in which you can absorb the abilities of enemies. However, the exact specifics are currently unknown. There's pretty much zero information on this currently, but it is a confirmed mechanic. In addition to this, we also have another mechanic known as Inner Demon, in which the more Wuchang dies or defeats human enemies, she will increase this Inner Demon gauge, and once full, the demon will be summoned and it is said to guard where you last died and dropped your red mercury. The demon is hostile to both Wuchang and enemies, whilst also having ranged attacks and likely other tricks up her sleeve. And as a final side note for the Inner Demon gauge itself, as this increases, so does your damage. However, your damage received increases as well. Now, in terms of enemy and boss variety, of course, not much is known currently as we've only seen a handful of enemies and bosses in action. However, I covered a range of bosses recently in this video right here, and from what is featured within the video, the variety and design does seem to be in exactly the right place. We have a confirmed total of 9 bosses available within Chapter 1, meaning it's likely we have upwards of 40 bosses throughout the entire game, but as to how unique these will be from one another, we currently do not know. Anyway, in terms of world and story, Wuchang features an array of NPCs to interact with, whether that be side quest or merchant related. There will be plenty throughout your journey. All 5 chapters mentioned earlier on are said to be vastly different from one another in terms of aesthetic and environment, and the story is said to be easier to follow than most Souls-likes typically are, whilst being rich and full of flavour, but we will just have to wait and see. Very briefly, I have the PC specs for Wuchang on screen currently, and as for consoles, the general word going around town would be Wuchang is currently suffering no frame rate or performance issues at all, whether that be on base consoles or the Series X/PS5 Pro. However, I'd hold off until reviews are released if this is something you're concerned about. Now, as a quick fire for all the smaller details that we do know, red mercury is dropped when you die, and if you die again before retrieving this, then it will be lost forever. New Game Plus is confirmed, but as to how deep this goes and what the limitations may be, we do not currently know. Microtransactions are not a thing within Wuchang. However, the Deluxe Edition upgrade and possibly the pre-order upgrade will be available to purchase in-game once Wuchang is finally released. But it doesn't look like there will be any in-game store or microtransactions. And finally, we do indeed have jiggle physics. I'm not showing it, but trust me, it's there. So there it is, just about all of the most important information you could know before deciding on your purchase or diving headfirst into Wuchang in just a few days' time. I will be back within the next few days with one last video prior to Wuchang's launch, where we will compile all of the important information from a range of different reviews, seeing if there's any interesting details we can piece together, and seeing how similar or different all of these reviews are in general. Of course, as of the 24th, I myself will be hard at work on a range of different guides and news videos for Wuchang, so consider this channel your one-stop spot for all things Wuchang moving forward, and anyone already familiar with the channel will already know what to expect. Anyway, that would be it for today's video, folks. As I said before, I'll be back in a day or so with more Wuchang, and then plenty more as of launch. I do have a range of guides and news videos on the channel already, so do feel free to stop on by and check things out. But otherwise, thanks for watching, folks, and until next time, peace.